Aside from babysitter slaughter, one thing that we could always count on with the Halloween movies were gangbuster endings with poorly thought out and lackluster follow-ups. Happened with Part 4, The Return, going into Part 5, The Revenge. H2O's ending sent heads rolling, only to fade into a resurrection that kept us all in check. If you know, you know. Would, though, the very same thing happen now that the sacred IP was with the Blumhouse family and having their first installment set the screen ablaze at the conclusion of Michael's return to Haddonfield? I mean, how would they follow up on that? There's a lot to live up to in 2021 with the appropriately named Halloween Kills. So, if you're willing, sit down with me and let's find out what brings this one in at number 8 on our Aging Gracefully countdown. Right back into the swing of things we go with Allison's boyfriend still dressed as Bonnie, trying to call his still impaled, chubby sidekick on the phone, all before stumbling upon the nearly lifeless body of Deputy Hawkins. Luckily, though, for us, Will Patton's character is still amongst the land of the living, and he makes a vow to Cameron in that moment. He has to be the one to kill Michael Myers. Why, you ask? Then the highlight of the night hits us right in the jaw with a beautiful throwback to a continuation of that fateful night, that fateful Halloween in 1978. And everything here looks amazing. And I can't help but think about the hospital scene from Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, if you can believe that, because I kind of wish we'd gotten more of this, kind of like I'd wished we'd gotten more of that, but I dare not be greedy because I know the path these movies can take us down. And this is where we see a young Deputy Hawkins trailing Michael Myers after he's been shot by Loomis, and he gets up and starts walking around. Now, Deputy Hawkins is not as good a shot as Dr. Loomis is, and he misses wildly with several shots before he's met by his colleagues, and they reconvene to figure out how they're going to find this guy. Then Lonnie. You know Lonnie, right?
Hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
Yeah, that guy. He gets an arc here where he narrowly avoids a run-in with the Shape before Hawkins and his colleague wind up realizing that Michael has returned back to his childhood home. Great search of the home, old school dread as they open each door looking for this guy, and all before the colleague winds up getting jumped by Michael's upstairs in his sister's bedroom where he committed his first kill all those years ago. Hawkins winds up shooting his buddy in the neck, trying to save him, but misses Michael with every shot that follows that, all before our killer ends up on the front lawn being apprehended by Dr. Loomis. Now, the actor playing Loomis here looked really good, and even though it wasn't his real voice, whoever they dubbed over him sounded really good. It felt like Loomis. But then they start this idea of Michael transcending with each life that he takes, and it's kind of verging on some white horse shit for me, so I'm going to steer clear of that as much as I can. Still, though, loving where we're at so far in this movie, and we haven't even gotten to the follow-up of torching the boogeyman at the end of the last movie just yet. Old school intro, 80s feel, Halloween theme, you've got your pumpkins on fire, and at this point, in my first watch of this movie, I am loving everything going on. I'm loving where I'm at. I'm seated. I'm ready to see some more of this Halloween lore that we're getting out of Michael Myers and Haddonfield. And then we see the badass Strode chicks being carted off in the back of a pickup truck, pissed that they're seeing all these first responders racing to the fire at Laurie's old house, screaming at them to let it burn, much like Usher told us so many years ago. Now, when Halloween 2018 ended, I was just wondering, how is Michael going to get himself out of this fiery jam that he wound up falling into? And we found out because he hides behind this steel door where Laurie kept all of her Schwarzenegger stash. He was just smart enough to tuck himself back there, but eventually that was going to end up slow cooking him, so something had to happen. And luckily for him, some dumbass firefighter shows up, falls through the floor, and literally gives him a lifeline to get out. What follows that? I'm sure you've seen the movie, but what follows that is one of the coolest shots in the franchise when Michael steps out of the porch. The house is an inferno behind him, right? And there's got to be more than half a dozen firefighters out on that front lawn looking at it like, what the fuck just walked outside? Now the massacre is kind of silly. There's a little bit of silly in this movie, but it was really cool to watch such a high level of chaos. And if you're going to announce to the town that you ain't dead, that's the way you want to announce it right there. And I lied because I forgot that before all this there was a bar scene. And to be fair, the bar scenes are throwaway scenes in this movie. We do get to see OG Lindsay Wallace. We get Marion Chambers back. We get a version of Lonnie, who's actually pretty good in this movie. And then we get Anthony Michael Hall as Tommy Doyle. All apologies to Ant-Man. And I love Anthony Michael Hall. But my God, he's absurd in this movie. He's just, what was the speech at open mic night? And old Huckleberry? Come on. It looks like a guy playing a tough guy. And, the bar scenes I could have done without. But all of this leads to breaking news about the deaths that happened earlier in the night. And then everybody in the bar, because they've been talking about the survivors of Halloween 1978 all night long, they assume that this is Michael. And then the news channel flashes these two photos of two people that got away from this bus that crashed. And naturally, the folks assume that Michael is the short, squatty one because our lovely nurse Vanessa has found him crouched in the back of her car. Now, Tommy walks out of that bar like an Avenger. You see what I did there? Only for the whole crowd to cheer him on and only for him to come up short. And this is the moment where the dreaded evil dies tonight mantra is born. And if you wanted a reason to dislike this movie, they just gave you one. Now, the sheriff is at the hospital talking to Karen, and he's the one that breaks the news to the Strode women that Michael has survived. Now, Karen immediately assumes that Michael is headed back to the hospital for her mother, and Allison decides she's going to posse up with Cameron and all the other town folk to hunt the boogeyman. This winds up leading to the other escaped inmate that looks more like the Penguin than the Shape coming to the hospital and being swarmed by the mob. Karen, realizing that this Furby could not be the guy that just tried to kill her entire family, tries to help him because that's who Karen is. She's a really nice character. But he's so overwhelmed by these hordes of people coming after him that he decides to jump to his own death. And what ends up being a pretty damn sad scene, but it speaks to the effect that Michael has had on this whole town. They've created this mob mentality. They did a good job here treating Michael like more than just a guy going from house to house killing people with a butcher knife. And that would continue in Halloween Ends, which we'll talk about. But I liked what they did. I kind of, some of it was super silly. Like, there's no chance that guy is Michael Myers. He doesn't even look anywhere close to Michael Myers. But I get what they were going for, and it worked to a certain extent. So swerving us further from this whole bloodline killer that we grew up with, we come to find out that Michael isn't necessarily moving towards a person that he's got his sights set on. He's moving towards his own home. Unfortunately for Little John and Big John, just who are an awesome gay couple that are living in that house. And we'll talk a little bit more about them here in a minute. But Michael does not share well. And things go sideways really, really fast. So yeah, let's talk about it. What does Halloween Kills kill? And for the purpose of these rankings, I got to tell you, I love some of these characters. Little John and Big John, they were unexpected, but they were wildly entertaining in this movie. And, the filmmakers didn't overdo it with these two either. They just kind of sprinkled them in where they needed them and really impactful the way things ended for them. They were fun when they had the kids show up and try to prank them. And I really enjoyed that couple in this film. The couple that flew the drone at the very beginning, I thought was really fun too. The woman educates her man on speaking ill of Laurie Strode because...
Better not talk no shit about that woman. She will fuck you up.
Awesome stuff from those two, all before they realize that Michael is hiding in their bathroom. And then we get some of the gnarliest kills. Awesome scene, awesome stuff. And I'm glad that woman was able to come back in the limited role that she had for Halloween Ends. And that all reminds me, there's some really scary things in this film. There's some places that some of these characters wind up in. When Lindsay goes to the park to warn those kids who had the silver shamrock mask, how awesome was that? tells them they need to get home because there's a killer on the loose, and then they tell her that their friend over there in the white mask is playing hide and seek with them, all before we look over and we see Michael standing with a bloody skull mask in his hand. Now, the scene that follows is a little ridiculous with how bad a shot some of these people in this movie are, but this feels like Halloween to me. And when Lindsay's on the run from Michael in the scene, you want her to get away with the same type of urgency that you wanted Laurie to get away with back in 1978. I mean, and almost everything that happens in the Myers home, once Michael is there, it's pretty damn tense. I mean, R.I.P. Lonnie, gone too soon, buddy. Michael is a badass of epic proportions here, and you say what you want about him in that sewer and ends like a fucking Ninja Turtle, but this guy in this movie was not playing games. I mean, this had to be one of the highest body counts in these movies up until this point. A count so high that it would have made my in-laws jealous. The mask looks great. I mean, I really dug the way they progressed the age and the wear of this thing over the trilogy, and the burnt, warped way it's presented here in this film looks really good. Now, what killed Halloween Kills? What could they have done better? And the Evil Dies Tonight chant was awful. And why would the townspeople just decide to start chanting that? That's a dumb question when you consider how mob mentality is even to this day. I mean, turn on the news for Christ's sakes. But it's just terrible stuff. And I blame Tommy Doyle for every last bit of it. Speaking of which, Anthony Michael Hall was on a bad one for this film. I didn't get any of these choices. If he'd have followed up on any of that badass talk with some action at the end, could have been salvaged, I think. But Michael tore off and beat his ass with his own baseball bat. I mean, did you see what Paul Rudd did to Michael Myers in Curse of Michael Myers? This is some shameful shit right here. And again with Laurie in a hospital bed for a sequel. I mean, why? And you know, all credit due, it was nice to catch some scenes with her and Frank. I dug that. I liked that. But short of that, I mean, it felt like a wasted opportunity. I mean, how do you have a town hunting the boogeyman with no Loomis and no Laurie? I mean, no wonder they stepped on their dicks trying to get the job done with this guy, and they failed miserably. You know, still, all that being said, I found this to be a fun addition to the Halloween storyline and well worthy of the A spot in our countdown. It's got a score of 7 out of 10 for me. That's how I grade it. I really struggled with this and Curse of Michael Myers as far as which one was better. But the whole Jamie is pregnant after her uncle dittying her, it took me all the way out of that one. So I'm going to give Halloween Kills the nod over Curse of Michael Myers just barely. But let me know what you thought. I'd love to hear your opinion on this movie, on that movie. We've got a few more coming up. This is Aging Gracefully. I'm Matthew Essex. I appreciate you guys being a part of this. Subscribe to us if you like us. Leave us a comment. You know the rest. Until next time, I'll see you guys on the other side.